Story 1. Nothing has really changed for me except my ever-increasing anxiety about what my electricity bill will look like at the end of the cycle. My air conditioner has been running non-stop. Story 2. I usually hang out in my garage and do activities like drinking and playing games. I couldn't hang out in the garage yesterday and had to spend time with my family. It's tough, but I am managing the difficulties. Story 3. I am lucky to have booked a work trip for 2 weeks in San Francisco, where it is around 60 degrees. Normally, I would be in South Texas right now. Story 4. Thankfully, I am unaffected in North San Diego County. It is 73 degrees and sunny here today. I feel sorry for those who are not so lucky. Story 5. It was 95 degrees with 85% humidity yesterday, and I was outside mowing my lawn. Well, half my lawn because that was all I could get done before I had sweated so much my clothes weighed an extra 15 pounds. Story 6. Imagining how fast the dial on my electric meter is spinning due to the air conditioning running full-time, even after raising the temperature. Story 7. I have always hated summer. I live in a coastal town and this is ridiculous. I never want to hear someone complain about it being cold in winter. Put a warm jacket on. Story 8. I don't know what is happening anymore. For all I know, there are lizard people in Washington, D.C., controlling the weather. Story 9. I have lived in Arizona most of my life, so I did not realize that many other places are not equipped to handle extremely high temperatures. Condolences to all those struggling with the heat. Story 10. It is supposed to hit a blistering high of 70 degrees in interior Alaska this afternoon, but at least it will cool down to a tolerable 48 degrees tonight. Oh wait, there is no night until July 27th. My mistake. Story 11. It is hot, but it is only really hot for this time of year. The next 2 months are generally hotter where I live, heat dome or not. Story 12. 63 degrees, drizzle, and a slight refreshing breeze in the northwest. We had some lovely sunny 70-degree days earlier in the month, but it is January, so we have some mid-60s drizzle. Story 13. I am so hot, while simultaneously sad that this will be one of the coldest summers of the rest of my life. Story 14. In the Pacific Northwest, my office is in the basement, and it was annoying having to go up 2 flights of stairs to get a hoodie today. Story 15. In Texas, we started dawn with sacrifices to the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, turn our air conditioners to the low 70s, and pray for power to stay on. Story 16. I am staying indoors as much as I can. It is unpleasant when you get drenched with sweat just walking down to the mailbox and back. Fall and winter cannot get here fast enough. Story 17. I am loving it. Summer is my season. The hotter and more humid, the better. Kind of sucks a bit when my glasses fog up, but at least I am not freezing to death. Story 18. I am happy that I was able to achieve the tan I wanted before my 2 new tattoos. I will not be able to be in the sun for a couple of months. Story 19. My toddler had a runny nose for 2 days, and now I am very sick with body aches, chills, goosebumps, and what feels like a severe sinus infection. I am glad that I got sick instead of him, but I am upset that I am sick. I should be at the beach. We only get 3 months of beach weather where I live. Story 20. It is what it is. Anywhere you live, you probably are not comfortable all year long. Summers are rough, but the other seasons are nice. I also get up early to avoid the heat, at 6 a.m., even on weekends. Story 21. We are in the Midwest. The answer is to not go out unless necessary. The house is 77 degrees, which is very comfortable for us older adults. Story 22. Many water and air conditioning breaks. Consumed lots of electrolytes. Went through 6 sweatbands yesterday, hoping for fewer today with slightly lower temperatures. We are getting rain right now, so temperatures may be even lower. Same humidity, though. Story 23. Went for a nice long hike in the forest this weekend. The canopy provided an excellent outdoor air conditioner. When I returned to the car, I thought for a second that I had stepped through a portal to hell. Story 24. I lived in Austin, Texas, for 5 years, where we experienced over 100 consecutive days of temperatures above 100 degrees. I now live somewhere the temperature has barely reached 90 degrees. So far, it is not a problem. Story 25. I'm inside. If I have to leave the house, it's first thing in the morning or late afternoon. My air conditioning cannot really keep up because I'm on the top floor of an old apartment, so I just let it get hot in here and turn on the fans. Once the sun is down, I slowly lower the temperature back down to 70 degrees. Around this point in the day, it's 77 degrees inside. I wear shorts and a bra. That's it. My daughter is 3 and runs around with varying degrees of clothing. My son is 9 and doesn't seem to notice or care until it's bedtime because his room gets the hottest. I do not use the oven. If it cannot be microwaved or cooked on the stove, you can forget about it. Clothes get hung to dry or tumble-dried without heat. I do not know how many cycles it takes. Story 26. It is always this hot where I am in South Carolina at this time of the year. It is the people from the northern United States who are having a hard time right now. Story 27. It was so hot outside that I saw a bird blowing on a worm. I have been working outside in the mornings and evenings. Story 28. I am luckily tucked in a cool corner in San Diego, California. It is only about 75 degrees here, but we have the added bonus of extra fire warnings this summer. My coworkers across the country say it is hot. Real hot. Story 29. Survived it. Where I live, it has been replaced by a dome of muggy air, rain, and thunderstorms. It is like trying to breathe underwater. Story 30. Sweating a lot in North Carolina. Ugh, we have hit summer here, but this is ridiculous. I feel for those who work outdoors. Story 31. It's not too bad. I'm in the Chicago suburbs where it's 96 degrees. The heat index is 104 with 50% humidity, which is better than a few days ago. I'm mostly staying inside. I have my blinds partly down and closed to keep out the worst of the sun, and I have an extra fan going upstairs where it stays hotter. I set my thermostat a little higher so my air conditioning isn't working as hard. It's uncomfortable, but I've had worse. Story 32. Texas. I just finished playing golf and loved it. I do not mind the heat at all and much prefer it to the cold. I'm also in shape, so I am sure that helps. I also love the feeling of getting into a car that has been sitting in the sun all day. There is something about it that just feels good. Story 33. I do not know what you were talking about, honestly. It has been a mostly average, if not a bit cool, summer here in Arizona. Story 34. It has actually not been that bad. Other than a few weeks of 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, the weather has been pretty decent. Temperatures are regularly under 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is nice for the summer. I just hope the next 2 months do not spike up to 105 degrees Fahrenheit or higher like they have the last couple of years. Story 35. High 60 degrees in New York State. I wish it were warmer since it is summer after all. I am getting tired of cool, wet summers. Story 36. This is normal down here in the southern region. It is hot, I am sweating, and I am staying inside when possible. It is not a big deal. Story 37. Here in the San Francisco Bay Area, it is going to be in the low 80s, absolutely perfect. Our heat comes in September and October, then we just burst into flames. Story 38. It is pretty standard summertime heat for people who live in the southeast. It will be hotter in late July and August. Story 39. Not all of America is in the heat dome. I am in San Francisco. So far, for the entire month of June, no day's high temperature has yet managed to reach 70 degrees Fahrenheit. At least that is what the television weatherman says. However, when I look at Weather Underground, it says that one day managed to reach 71 degrees. All other days, the highs were in the 60s. It probably depends on what part of the city you take the measurement in. Story 40. It is currently 84 degrees Fahrenheit, or 28.8 degrees Celsius. In my house, and our heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system stopped working and cannot be fixed until the 8th. On the plus side, I have cold beer and honey roasted almonds to snack on. Story 41. Finally, I am not upset about the surprise furnace and air conditioning replacement I had to finance last December. I chose an oversized model that can adjust its output as needed. I cannot see my breath yet, but I am getting there. Story 42. It is hot, but it has been unusually cool in the Northeast this spring. This is the coolest spring I can remember. I am looking forward to fall because I hate the heat. Story 43. Air conditioning, and more air conditioning. Running 3 window units and a portable air conditioner, all set to 65 degrees. The old mobile home is still sitting at 80 degrees. I do not like it. Story 44. I am in a part of the country that is still in the 1960s, so I am really thankful for that. I experienced a few decades of incredibly hot and humid summers in the Great Lakes region. That can really affect you. Story 45. Upper Northwest here. Just got out of a cold snap. It was 32 degrees here. I feel for all of you who are dealing with the extremely hot weather right now. Story 46. My air conditioning is not working, and no one can come until tomorrow to repair it. I have been dealing with this issue since Sunday. I have a room full of fans running, but they are not helping. Story 47. Terrible. I am in Washington, D.C., and the heat and humidity are killing me. I do not have central air conditioning in this row house I am renting, and the water evaporative tower fan is not working at all, no matter how much ice I put in it. I thought my Central Valley skin could handle 95 degrees plus heat, but I guess only that semi-arid dry heat instead of this quasi-jungle temperature. Story 48. I don't leave the house. Our air conditioning unit is brand new, and we have a whole house generator in case the power grid goes down. Hopefully, I'm all set. Story 49. It's not even really that hot yet, with peak temperatures in the low 100s. Also, it is still cooling at night in the 60s even. By July, our lows will be in the mid to upper 80s, and in August, the harshest month, our highs will reach 115 and our lows will be in the upper 90s if we are lucky. A couple of years ago, we had a solid month around August where the temperature never dipped below 100. It was brutal. Central California. At least we can escape to semi-local or local lakes, and the ocean is only about 2 hours away. Story 50. Setting the knob to heat and blasting the fan at full power since the neon now leaks coolant. Roll all 4 windows down to compensate, which messes up my hair. Story 51. I have lost more than 80 pounds in the past year and a half. It is still hot, but I barely break a sweat even at 95 degrees Fahrenheit now. Story 52. It got up to 85 degrees here in West Virginia. An absolute scorcher. I love it here. I look at the map, see the other states, and feel sorry for everyone. Story 53. I have a roof to replace, and between the heat, the rain, and everyday life, I am struggling to get everything done. At least I have a mountain creek to sit in between bouts of work. Story 54. Not great. It is only 94 degrees today, but the heat index is still 104 degrees. I took a walk late last night, and it was still 91 degrees with about 70% humidity. It is very draining. Story 55. Where I live, we experience a severe heat wave like this every year. However, this year I am 9 months pregnant and have learned that heat waves are definitely more challenging during pregnancy. I have been avoiding going outside as much as possible, but I still have to go to work. Story 56. I am a painter at a body shop in the southern region that does not have air conditioning. The paint booth temperature was reading 102 degrees Fahrenheit while I was spraying the roof of a sport utility vehicle the other day. I was sweating through my paint suit and felt unwell for the rest of the day. I also experienced heartburn from drinking a large amount of a popular electrolyte beverage, which made the situation worse. Story 57. It is horrible here in the San Francisco Bay Area, 75 degrees Fahrenheit today, and the same all summer long. I do not know how we will make it. Story 58. Sorry to say, but where I am in Montana, it is 73 degrees out with a nice breeze. I do not think we have experienced the heat wave so far. It was pouring rain and 57 degrees just a couple of days ago. Do not hate me. I cannot control the weather. Story 59. Miserable. Anything over 80 degrees Fahrenheit is already pushing the limits of comfortable. I literally cannot even go check the mailbox, a mere 30 feet, without my entire body feeling like it is about to sweat. I am only slightly overweight according to my last physical, but I have a deceptive amount of muscle as well. I also prefer cooler temperatures despite living in the unpleasant middle of the East Coast. I do not know why, I have just always preferred it. 76 degrees is ideal, neither warm nor cold, for me. People at work say you just need to acclimate to the temperatures. There is no acclimating to a heat wave. There is only enduring and suffering. Just because you are old and cold all the time does not mean this is good temperature. Story 60. I live in the Sierra Nevada mountains. It is currently 75 degrees, and that is the highest temperature it has been all week. I wore a sweater to work. I am doing just fine. Story 61. I was working on a chiller for a printing company and had to pack it up and leave after I threw up the water and Gatorade I was drinking twice. Getting ready to go to bed and get up early in the morning to finish it. Story 62. Not amazing. It has been over 100 degrees heat index for the last week in Hilton Head. Don't get me wrong, it is great vacation weather, but I also feel like my skin will melt off for half of the day. Story 63. This is not normal for summer here. I do not feel anything different than any other June I have spent in the United States. Story 64. It is actually kind of chilly today. Cloudy in the morning, with a high of 77 degrees but dropping to the high 60s by the evening. Story 65. Alternating current runs a lot. Curtains are always drawn. Dogs are only outside for 20 minutes at a time. I haven't mowed the lawn, driven my fun car without alternating current, or done any garage projects. My semi-truck runs more than 10 hours a day so I can have air conditioning. The only thing I have really done outside is service the outdrive on my boat so we can get on the water and be outside without being miserable. Story 66. It is cold in my house. I have to take my dogs outside to go to the bathroom. We seem to be in the height of not Malamute season. Story 67. I live in a region that experiences all 4 seasons in their full beauty. I don't dislike summer, but it is certainly not as pleasant as fall. I prefer to imagine it is nice and crisp outside instead of extremely hot. Story 68. I am in Minnesota. It is a comfortable 56 degrees Fahrenheit and rainy right now. We did get up to 92 degrees last weekend, though. I stayed inside all day. Story 69. Just fine. I have been in the Deep South, Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, since Monday, and it is cooler here than when I left Pennsylvania on Monday. Even in Pennsylvania, when it was 98 degrees Fahrenheit, it was not any hotter than I am used to in Tennessee. Story 70. Folks, it gets hot every summer. I know the mild spring spoiled most of you, but for goodness sake, learn how to be in this world. Story 71. I am working for Federal Express early and doing outdoor construction for the remainder of the day here in the Deep South. I sweat through multiple outfits every day. At least our politicians get to fly private jets around for meetings that could occur via Zoom. Story 72. It broke today for us. 3 days of 90s with humidity that felt like over 100 was rough. Today was 70 and rainy and perfect. Story 73. No big deal. It happens. I lived most of my life in Florida, though. I was very acclimated for a long time. I went many years with no air conditioning and hardly any airflow. It was often hotter inside than outside. Story 74. Great. Apparently, nobody can golf in weather above 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Courses have been notably empty. I have a battery-powered fan, a small umbrella for tea box shade, and cold drinks. It is great. Story 75. I am in Phoenix and it is unseasonably cool this week. For once, it is everyone else complaining about the heat. Do not worry, we will trade back soon. Story 76. I did not know we were in a heat wave, so I just searched for it. Yes, most of the United States is experiencing below average temperatures. Only the East Coast is very hot. Story 77. It's 57 degrees and rainy here. I've been chilled for 2 weeks and have the heat back on. Western Washington State. This is what we call January. You would think we have earned some semblance of summer, but no. After this, it gets warmer, but then it's smoke season. Story 78. Just sitting here considering the options for immigration somewhere else. I can trace my family back to the first male relative who was born here in 1652 in South Carolina before it was actually a state after his parents arrived from England. I just want to go back. Laugh out loud. Story 79. Somebody without air conditioning died of heat stroke on Monday about a mile down the road from me, but so far my air conditioning has not quit, so I guess I am doing fine. I can, however, officially report that it is a brutal week to be a painter outside in St. Louis, Missouri. In the afternoon, when you get into your car after leaving it parked with the windows up, it is roughly 49 degrees Celsius until you let all the heat escape. Story 80. Living in Texas means we usually experience a heat dome. Many people get used to not going outside much. I know that some areas of the United States do not have a central heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. It is essential here. I cannot imagine life without it. Check the high temperatures in Arizona or Nevada. It is not much better when the humidity is low, but when it is high, it is hard to get used to. Story 81. Honestly, I thrive in the heat. While I am not excited about my electric bill being an extra $40 to $50, I will take heat over cold any day. Story 82. I kind of love it. I have to wake up super early to run before the sun, but being outside is so nice right now. I would take this over cold and snow any day. Story 83. It is actually cooler than normal in Arizona. Only 104 degrees at the moment. Surprisingly makes a big difference. Story 84. Getting used to it. This is the beginning of the irreversible effects of climate change. Moved north to cleaner water and air. Story 85. It has been hard. I am on medication that makes me sensitive to sun and heat. No matter how much sunscreen I apply, how much I hydrate. I am on diuretics, so this is always an issue regardless of the weather. How much I stay out of the sun or keep cool, I still get heat sick and terrible headaches, even if I am in a pool. If I am not in a bathroom due to constant urination, which causes problems at work, I am absolutely miserable because anything more than 5 minutes makes me sick to my stomach and gives me a severe headache. I am missing out on so much time with my children, especially their games and playtime, because I cannot physically endure it. Of course, there is no alternative in terms of medication. Story 86. I'm in London, and the weather here reminds me of North Carolina, just a little less humid. If I am in the car, the air conditioning is on. If I am outside, it is no big deal. If I am home, I turn the air conditioning on if I need it. Right now, the ceiling fan is doing what I need. Story 87. This post is honestly the first time I have heard that word or phrase, heat dome. I just checked and temperatures are exactly normal. Last week was below normal, the week before was above normal. In other words, it is just another June here. Story 88. Awful. I am an athlete, and every time I finish my workout sessions, which include rowing for long cardio both on water and on an indoor rowing machine, as well as running, I have to sit indoors and drink water because I overheat. Story 89. My sister was very generous and loaned me an air conditioner. I do not really have the window for it, but I am doing my best to make it work. Story 90. It has done nothing but rain for 2 days and did not even reach 70 degrees Fahrenheit today, so we are doing okay, I guess. Story 91. Poorly. It reached a high of 95 degrees Fahrenheit inside parts of my work building today. At that temperature, a few of us were passing out intermittently. One showed possible heat stroke signs and accepted hospital care for it. Story 92. Feeling grateful for a brief vacation outside Texas, since it lives here for months at a time. Story 93. It has been pretty nice, actually. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. It was 77 degrees today and yesterday. The day before that, I was in San Francisco for the San Francisco Giants game, and it was in the 50s and foggy. Story 94. Heat dome? This has been the new normal for years. Climate change progresses continuously while our politicians continue to deny its existence. Story 95. Air conditioning is on half the day. I had to drive across town to get some medication. My car's air conditioning is broken. Turned out to be the hottest part of the day as well. It did not seem that hot when I was driving, but by the time I got back, my shirt was soaked, and I was exhausted. Story 96. Sweating in Houston, Texas, waiting for the 1 week of winter when it is consistently cold, then returning to the high humidity again. Story 97. Ironically, it has been cooler than average here in Phoenix, Arizona. On this day in 1990, the temperature hit an all-time high of 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Story 98. I live in Colorado, and it is never hot enough here for me. I am cold year-round. I wish I could figure out how to afford to be a snowbird and live somewhere warmer in the winter. Story 99. It has been cool and rainy in Colorado, which is a refreshing change from how it usually is this time of year. Sorry to everyone experiencing extreme heat further east, though. I hope it cools down soon. Story 100. I am living in Ohio now. I have lived in Southern California and Louisiana and spent a lot of time in Death Valley and the swamps near New Orleans. We just had a 3-day heat wave, and I actually had staff worried for their health in this heat wave while I was comfortably wearing multiple layers. I think I am going to be fine. Story 101. The fancy thermostat refused to turn on because it is peak hours and energy is expensive. We are saving you money. The only way to force it on was to use the application, which was not working, so I put the cold face pack from when I got my wisdom teeth removed on. Never throw out unusual medical supplies just because you do not need them anymore. You might need them later. Story 102. It has actually been cooler than usual where I am. Low 90s, mid 80s, breezy, and with perfect humidity. I am doing great. Sacramento Valley, California. Story 103. I live in Northern California. It is 65 degrees and comfortable. I do not envy the rest of the country. Story 104. I have air conditioning and I do not go out in public often, especially when it is over 80 degrees. People behave irrationally after the temperature gets much higher than that. Story 105. You could have cooked an egg on my forehead. My power went out for a while, and the last day of school was canceled in my town. Story 106. Heat dome? You mean summer? Just make sure you drink lots of water and stay in the shade as much as possible. Story 107. My neighbor went out and played golf today. I lingered briefly while getting the mail at the curb, and I felt a little lightheaded. Story 108. Fine. It gets this hot every year. I do not know why everyone where I live is acting like it is new or particularly bad this time. Pretty sure everyone has just gotten too comfortable and thinks a moment of mild discomfort is going to cause them to perish. Story 109. The Midwest heat dome is just a phrase used by the media to scare us into watching their false information. It is not hotter here than this time last year. If anything, it is cooler. 85 degrees is not really that hot anyway. Story 110. I have been working in a warehouse with no climate control in 90-degree heat with high humidity. It is difficult, but it is possible, especially when it is necessary. Keep this in mind when people complain about not being able to work from home. They are not working class. They are spoiled leeches. Story 111. We had a heat wave with the exact same temperatures last year in the final week of June. I took the week off, built a bridge on my property, got sun poisoning, and moved on. This year, I was too busy to take time off, but I am setting up a rifle range for some outdoor fun this weekend. Seriously, 90s are not a big deal. Just stay hydrated and do not overdo it. Story 112. I am in Tucson. It has been unseasonably cool this summer, only hovering around 100 degrees. I keep waiting for it to warm up so that I can get in the pool. Story 113. Where I am, it is no different than any other summer. Yes, it is hot and not fun, but I will take this over below freezing without question. Takes a while for the heat to make me uncomfortable. I am uncomfortable in the cold instantly. Story 114. South Texan here. What heat dome? We are used to temperatures over 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Last year, we experienced a feels like temperature of 125 degrees in June. It does not even faze us anymore. Story 115. This is a slightly below average summer in Texas. We still have people wearing hoodies outside here. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.